month is it? Oh, Jesus Christ. But you didn't think I wasn't gonna make a Game of the Year list video for 2017 to you? Shit, 2017 was one of the best years for gaming since 2011. You got Skyrim in that year. And that's one of the good ones. Maybe even better. But you know, I don't like to compare. That made it both one of the best and one of the worst years to have committed myself to making a Game of the Year list. Because, shit dude, these games were awesome, but I had to pick which ones were more awesome than the others, and it was like, oh, but I don't want to hurt that one's feelings. Especially the top two. Shit, man, that killed me. So don't take the order of the list too seriously. It's not a big deal who beat who, it's just a celebration. It's a celebration of all the wonderful games that came out in 2017. So without further ado, here are my top 10 games of 2017. All 10 of them. Sort of. Start this list off right with a game that doesn't count. The Crash n-sane trilogy. Reason this doesn't count is because it's a remake and the games didn't originally come out in 2017. But I couldn't quite iron out 10 games for this list, so consider this a seat filler. An honorable mention, if you will. When I was just a young Simon and I got my very first console, the PlayStation 2, I got with it Crash Bash, Crash Team Racing, and Crash Bandicoot Warped. And good old Monsters, Inc. So Crash Warped has always had a very special place in my heart. So to be able to revisit that world in HD was very nice. I also went back and played the first two, which were good, but come on. The whole package is tasty. It's your regular Tuesday night. I will say though, Crash could look a little crashier. I mean, it's pretty crashy, but I prefer my crashes to be more Crash Tag Team Racing Crash than whatever this is. This guy looks like a Crash Bamboom Crash. What was that game? I didn't like that game much. Don't get me wrong, the game's still really fun, but Crash just looks a little less crazy and more dopey. And if you liked the movie Coco, well boy, have I got a surprise for you. And also, it was a very nice gesture of the game devs to finish that unfinished level from the original game and release it as free DLC. That's nice. I just thought I'd note that. Alright, the games from here on actually count. Let's go! Now I consider myself a bit of a movie game extraordinaire, and I keep on the lookout for these because I think there's just so much potential. Even if most of the time they are garbage. But last year, we got something real fucking bizarre. Well, two things. Firstly, Universal rebooted the Mummy franchise with a female mummy. Finally, am I right, ladies? It had Tom Cruise and Russell Crowe, and it was a weird movie that tried to kick off the Universal Monsters universe because everyone wants to be Marvel. And it fucking tanked because they didn't cast Brendan Fraser. But the weirdest part is the fucking game based off it. Well, maybe. There's a lot of weird parts. Like, half a year after the movie released, WayForward came out with their officially licensed The Mummy Demastered. What? Oh my god. This looked awesome. Let's fucking do it, dude. Now, how do I get to...
There may be ledges in the caverns that you can drop through to proceed. Fully understanding, crouch and press B to drop through these platforms.
Huh. Oh, look at that. There we are. Well, this guy's fucking dead.
Agent, there may be ledges in the caverns
what?
that you can drop through to proceed. Crouch and press B to...
Okay, yeah. You said that already. Alright. You know, I actually wonder how much of this game takes it.
There may be ledges in the caverns that you can
Shut
drop
the fuck up.
through.
What? Damn. What have they done to you?
Agent, is the technician there with you? I'm seeing some odd readings from their bio tracker.
Yeah, he's here. That's a skeleton throwing his own bones at me. Yes! It's a fucking dinosaur chicken! Actually, you know what? Apparently dinosaurs actually did have feathers, so good on you for not sticking to the stereotype. but boy, he looks funny. Look, this game's not going to be your next Oblivion of Time, but it's a fun little game, and a very rare occasion in which the game based off the movie is great, while the movie it was based on was garbage. Because usually it's the other way around. A fun little game if you're into this sort of thing. Or if you're a die-hard fan of the movie. Yooka-Laylee. I enjoyed the hell out of this game when it came out. Looking back, let's just say I'm glad it was the first 3D platformer to come out in 2017. It was a wonderful return to the genre, but I think the Platonic team had a lot on their plate with setting up their studio, and that's not an excuse per se, but I understand why it wasn't a industrial revolution. That said, it did have some wonderful worlds, cool bosses, fantastic controls and charm. If you ever played the original Banjo-Kazooie, it's kinda like that form-wise, but with a whole lot of cool new types of gameplay and moves, and really is a great time sink. I really don't have that much more to say. If you love 3D platformers more than the sun and the earth, then you've played the fuck out of this already, so what do you want from me, dude? South Park: The Stick of Truth was good, but this one, it's about superheroes!
The kid's a menace if you ask me. How long before he or she kills an innocent person? How long before Daredevil becomes the Punisher? Huh? 3 seasons? 3 seasons!
South Park: The Fractured Butthole is a great show, and makes for a great game. And it is as much a show as it is a game, which will rub different people different ways, but I think the people who don't like that idea will know to just not play it. As someone who loves the idea of adapting stuff into other stuff, you know, when it's done for the love of it, which admittedly doesn't happen a lot, but clearly, this game is one of those rare exceptions. Trey Parker and Matt Stone's grubby little fingers are all over this game. I mean, the difficulty is determined by the skin color you pick for your character. God damn it. The collectibles are taking a dump in all the toilets in South Park and finding Yowie. If anything, this game has just taught me that I need to watch this show more. There's this social justice warrior character who gives you the ability to break out of combat and get a free hit on people if any of their dialogue includes fucking microaggressions.
He's my friend. I said, Paulo, you look tired.
Microaggression! Persons of Hispanic backgrounds have been stereotyped as being sleepy, and saying they look tired is a microaggression that will not stand!
But I am tired.
The general gameplay is between exploring South Park and turn-based combat where you get superpowers, and it's fun and actually challenging. I mean, to be fair, I am a little black boy. Life is fucking tough. This is a great, fun game, but more importantly, it's outrageously fucking hilarious. And I find humor in a lot of the games on this list, intended or not, but when it comes to this game, even if you don't look for the smiles in life, this one will serve it to you on a silver platter. No bullshit. And if you're a big fan of the show and for some reason haven't played this, that's a big mistake. I have so much fucking catching up to do, man.
I love to play my triangle goes. When I am sad, I love to hear my triangle go.
Ever wanted to shoot bunnies in the head with a sniper rifle as Luigi from the Super Mario Bros. Video game franchise? Oh boy, have I got the game for you! Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle seemed to have come out of nowhere, and also seems like a shitty idea, but so did the Lego Movie, and that was fucking awesome. And you know what? This is too. Ubisoft Montreal really pulled it off somehow, and it's a wonderful game that I would recommend to any Switch owner. Apparently, it's kind of like the XCOM games. I wouldn't know, I've never played one of them, so this was just a brush of fresh air for me. So it's Mario with guns. You get the guns, and it's a strategy game where you run around and you shoot the buns. Then you buy a bunch of upgrades and new guns, and there's a ton of progression and great humor, and let's not forget Grant Kirkhope blessing this game with his music that you must listen to. Now, here you go. What a toe tapper. It's a game that's hard to explain in a way that sounds as fun as it is, which is why I myself really wasn't hyped for it at all. But after it came out, I just heard so many good things that I thought I ought to make a leap of faith, and I'm real happy I did. And you know what? I suggest you do the same, buddy boy. Or don't, I'm not invested in your happiness. Can somebody explain to me why these games are so damn good?
Fuck you, Mr. Jefferson.
Alright, well. I first played Life is Strange in 2017, with its prequel Life is Strange Before the Storm releasing later the same year, which is the pick for this number because it came out in 2017. But I'll be talking about the series as a whole, basically, in this segment, so. I picked up the original because it was a time travel game, where you can reverse time after making a decision to go back and change it. How cool's that? Turns out that's already a thing. It's called reverting to the last checkpoint. But luckily there was a whole lot of value in these games that I didn't see coming, so. Which I also didn't really expect after the first episode, because, I mean, I bought the whole season on disc, but after the first episode I was like, boy, this is dumb.
Fine, I won't disturb you. Fine, I won't disturb you. Fine, I won't disturb you. Fine, I won't disturb you.
Which is sort of true, but I'm really glad I didn't stop there, because every episode, like, doubles in goodness. The second one's like, oh shit, there might be something to this. And then the third one's just like, oh shit. And so on, the rest is just better and better. I mean, if you can't get invested in the characters, then you might not see eye to eye. They do some weird stuff sometimes, like Chloe in the last episode of the prequel did some weird shit. And there's definitely a lot of bizarre dialogue, mainly in the original, since the makers of the game are French and had to Google what young people say.
You hella saved my life. You're a ninja.
Why don't you go fuck yourselfie?
But if you can see past some awkward writing and the protagonist of the original game's zombie voice acting,
The last time I got a flu shot, I got the flu. Fuck you.
things get pretty heavy, which is something I usually don't see in games. And when it comes to a story about teenagers goofing around and one of them accidentally getting powers, that just sounds like some cheesy teen comedy soapy kind of thing. But the drama in these actually feel pretty genuine. The setup is Max, our protagonist, returns to her hometown after having been gone for several years, and she runs into her old BFF, Chloe, who's still pissed off at her that she ditched her when she had no one else except her dad, who died shortly after Max left, and it was replaced by a shithead stepdad who's now trying to control her life. And so Chloe kinda got set down a hell spiral of doom without you, and, you know, didn't have her one friend around anymore to help her through it. And then Max gets time powers or whatever. As you might be able to tell, I'm a little more invested in Chloe's story than Max is. Lucky for me, Before the Storm takes place during the time Max is out of town, and we get to witness the downward spiral first hand. And let me tell you, it's fucked up. Like, it's real fucked up, dude. Like, it's fucked. Like, it's totally, like, dicked. Like, it's fucking fucked up, dude. Now, one of the main challenges of choice-based games is it's hard to make a storyline go in one direction and also give the player choices to take it in their own directions at the same time. And nothing pisses me off quite like a completely fake decision in a game revolving around decision-making. Smash door, help Emily through. Whatever.
I won't.
I'll stick Emily through.
Think again, lughead. No can do.
You better fucking do it, otherwise that's a goddamn fake choice. God damn it! Now, Before the Storm takes place before an already established game, so its story really can't be changed much. So, a lot of the decisions you make in it actually don't mean shit. Except, I guess, for your relationship with Rachel Amber, since she exits stage right by the main game anyway. Thing is, this game completely embraces your lack of control in this, and actually kind of uses it to enhance the story. Since the story doesn't so much have a singular obstacle you have to overcome, but it's just a constant fucking state of crashing and burning, and you end up feeling just as helpless as Chloe does when nothing you do seems to help. Which sounds kind of like a cop-out, and I guess kind of is, but hey, works for me. I mean, I don't know, man, it's just like real life. No matter what you do, everything's fucked. so you might as well enjoy it. And let me just say, that statement is exactly Chloe's character to a T, which is for sure part of the reason I relate to her.
Ready to roll?
Please don't want to talk. Please don't want to talk.
I want to talk to you about something.
Fuck.
So playing as her was definitely more fun for me than playing as Max. There's a lot of optional rebelling against authority in this, which is right up my alley. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna magic marker your whole dang bathroom. Take that, society. I mean, sometimes things are just out of your hands and you gotta make the most of it, man. But even after coming to terms with that, you'll still get the feeling that you should have done more. And this game articulates that really well. These games are just super fucked up, and they know it. Like, I forget that easily, but especially with the prequel, it has the advantage of referring to later stuff and just making that later stuff even worse. Like in the bonus episode that takes place before Max even leaves for Seattle, Chloe's dad isn't even dead yet. So of course, they do everything they can to make his death worse. They're all just like, oh man, your dad is the coolest. I sure hope he lives a long, healthy life. And she's like, yeah, my dad is the coolest. He just yesterday bought me an ice cream and a Razor scooter and an iPhone and a flat screen TV with a Blu-ray copy of Final Fantasy XIV The Anime Chronicles. Like, who knew walking around a room looking at shit could be so defeating? And that's definitely one of the coolest developments these games have over others. Most of its value really is just how fucked shit is. How real the fucked shit is, and how you can't even stop the shit from getting so fucked. The only real choice you get to make is, do they kiss on the cheek or the mouth? And if that isn't equality, well shit. You can get the original game for like single-digit dollars now, and I would absolutely recommend it for that. That's a fucking steal. Shake things up, get out of your comfort zone, play a game that's pretty different. Even if you regularly play choice-making decision kind of games, this is still pretty different from what I've seen. They really are nice, chill games that'll also make you feel real bad. And who doesn't want that? And even if you don't end up genuinely enjoying it, you'll probably get a barrel of laughs out of it.
Life is
Say it.
weird.
Cuphead is that game that came out that was super indie and took too long, but this time was different, because this time they forced themselves to use the most excruciatingly outdated animation process they could have possibly imagined in an effort to really find that missing ingredient from a lot of recent games. Love. And they did it! This game is so gorgeous! I guess everybody on the planet has just today collectively remembered that the 30s style Disney cartoon look is one of the most beautiful, innocent, wonderful things you could possibly be looking at any given moment. Speaking of which, you should all go back and rewatch the Disney short that played before Frozen, Get a Horse. Anyway, it was no doubt that Cuphead had a lot of passion put into it, and it looked great. But that wasn't enough to sell me on it. I only even really considered getting it after it came out and everyone started saying how genuinely fun it was to play. Turns out these guys had a serious knack for boss battles, because this is actually mainly a boss battle game, with a few mediocre run and gun levels thrown in the mix too. And these boss battles are some of the best bosses I have played in a while. It definitely makes me wish they were a more common feature in games in general right now. Also, I've got to say, it makes me appreciate difficulty a lot more too. That's another thing, Cuphead became known pretty quickly for its insane difficulty. People were saying they weren't even able to get themselves invested because it was just so hard. It's not that hard. I beat it. And I'm a fucking dope. I mean, I'm not even that patient with games. Not to say I didn't freak the fuck out in every single level. Oh, I don't like this. I don't like this. Let's be real, there's only a certain amount of skill you need to beat most games. It's just how much time you have, how invested you are, and how willing you are to take the pain and come out the other side. I used to put myself through hell to 100% games I was really into, and use the power of proving to myself repeatedly that I could do anything I put my mind to. Now that life has beaten that out of me, I usually just don't bother unless I'm having fun. Which means this game really pulled off something special, because I beat this game. So even when I got really pissed off, it was fun enough for me to want to go back in. Plus, I rarely felt like it was the game that fucked me. There were only 1 or 2 times throughout the whole game that I ever felt like the way an enemy or obstacles design was genuinely cheap. There are a lot of moves that are hard to see coming the first time, but once you learn their tells, you're all good. The characters are also just so interesting and funny and creative to see, and it all goes wonderfully hand in hand with how they work mechanically that each level is honestly just a spectacle. One that doesn't get tiring to see over and over, because you're gonna see it over and over. Because the more you play, the further you get, and the more phases you get to see, and holy shit, he's dead! Oh my god, I'm never playing that fucking level again. A Hat in Time is a game that starts off kinda rocky, but manages to find its feet as a wonderful platformer that both pays homage to favorites of the past, but also serves as its own identity with some really original worlds to play through, and gradually introduces a lot of really creative and fantastic gameplay that is concise and at times fucking beautiful. Excuse me, I got something in my eye! This game's got a lot of, like, mission-based stuff, a lot of discovery, awesome boss battles, and cool characters, plus the controls are just so much fun, and there are some straight-up platforming sections, too. Just all sorts of really great gameplay, and just look at this shit, dude, it's great. I love it. Buy it. Next. Here we go, off the rails. Don't you know it's time to raise our sails? It's freedom like you never knew. The fact that this game is number 2 aside, this game is absolutely fucking astounding. I've been waiting 10 years for this motherfucker, and I gotta tell you, man, it does not disappoint. It's so beautiful. It's unfathomable how Nintendo still understands so well how to make such a great game. Their relentlessness to innovate can be frustrating at times, but when it pays off, you can take that shit to the bank. The cap mechanic is an effortless new tool for attacking, traversing, defense, all this stuff that comes second nature yet is still completely new. And that's not even taking into account its main purpose, capturing enemies and animals and those little orange thingies you see on the road. What are they called? And then everything you capture then gives you whole other abilities, so it's just the tip of the iceberg. This whole thing is one of the few things that reminds me there's still some innocence on this piece of shit planet. That creators can be successful and still keep their integrity, their morality, their originality, and their ability to be motivated. To make something that's priority is solely about producing happiness. You people don't fucking deserve Nintendo, but you get them anyway. Maybe that's the cruel, ironic beauty of the world. That goes for number 1 as well. The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Holy fuck. Like, how do I explain to you how fucking good this game is, dude? Am I coming on too strong? Okay, hold on. How about this? I tell you, man, this was a hard decision to come to. I can hardly believe I'm leaving Super Mario Odyssey at number 2. But shit, man, Breath of the Wild was unreal. And I should say, as with any opinion, this isn't necessarily concrete. I don't exactly think either game is better than the other. They both blew me the fuck away. But Breath of the Wild was so invigorating and daring and focused and charming and freeing and just so much fucking fun! I already did a whole vloggy type video thing just splurging about how much I love this game, but not to worry, I could splurge plenty more! Free roam games have come to be the new hip stylish thing for big game devs to try implementing in their games, with varying levels of success. Or so I've heard, I haven't really played much of those ones. Now, Zelda began as a freedom-based series, maybe the first to even do so, and it slowly kind of brought its horizons in as the series went on. Breath of the Wild blew those gates open and just gave you the wild. The wild. The wild. Somehow, astoundingly, Nintendo just did it right. I mean, should I expect any less? These guys are just the most critical of thinkers and beautiful game designers, and this game feels like nothing I have ever played before, and that's pretty rare nowadays. You can run around and do very little in a very long time, and it still be really entertaining. And in a day and age where I'm constantly trying to stuff as much entertainment and content down my throat as possible, I can really just stop and smell the roses, and it's more than enough. Not to say there isn't a lot there, because there's an overwhelming amount there, but it's just presented in a way that you can take it in at a leisurely pace, and it's still so much fun. It's just constant discovery after discovery after finding out that idea you had for something you could do is actually possible because the game is just so intricately designed. And that's just when you aren't doing any quests. The opportunities they give you to use the tools given are so clever that they, in turn, make you yourself feel clever. The characters are wonderfully charming and sometimes hilarious, and other times genuinely heartwarming. The progression is really nicely balanced between making Link better and making you better at the game. And now, with all your weapons breaking all the time, you have to stay on your toes no matter how far you are into the game. For me, this is just the height of escapism, which you can be damn sure is exactly what I fucking want. It's just a world you can slip right into and forget about everything. And if that doesn't sound like the best shit ever to you, then we're just different people, different values. And that's natural. I still think there's a ton of value in here with so much variety that I think most people who try it will end up enjoying it, all for their own reasons. But as with any favorites, this game feels pretty personal to me. And as much as I hope you'd find it enjoyable yourself, everybody experiences everything in their own way. And I think that's kind of beautiful. I don't know what to say for this part. The guy who usually writes these end screen bits died, actually, so we'll just have a moment of silence for him. Okay, that's not what silence is, guys.